Welcome to the Recharge podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Rob.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Will.
In today's episode, we've got new e-bikes from Cube. They've released a ton of new e-bikes, new wheels from Oquo. Bosch have been involved in an antitrust case in Italy, and we are going to roast Ford's new e-bike. First up, it's been a couple of weeks actually since we've done a poddy. We've, Will, you've been on holiday.
Yep.
Did you have a nice one?
It was very nice, thank you, in France.
Look at this tan.
Yeah, got a bit of a glow.
That's why you got me the white t-shirt today, isn't it? To enhance the contrast.
Show it off, yeah.
Yeah. I went to Italy on holiday, and that was really cool.
And I was looking after my son. Not nearly as exciting. I was working hard. Let's go.
And he's now back at school, right?
Yeah, he's back at school, which is, it's nice.
It's nice to get back into the routine as well, isn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so first up, Cube have released a ton of new e-bikes. I don't know how many they've released, but they've got so many e-bikes in their portfolio. But there's a couple of standout e-mountain bikes, I think, that are worth talking about. So first up is the Cube 144. That's not the same 144 that we did because it's a lightweight 144.
So it's a hybrid.
What's that mean?
Hybrid. Okay, naming is the first hurdle here, but I think hybrid refers to an e-bike in their range. So a 144 is a non-e-bike, an analog bike, regular pedal bike, whatever you want to call it. And then the hybrid 144 is the e-bike one. You were referring to beforehand the hybrid 144, the AMS hybrid 144, which is the lightweight one, which looks quite different in terms of its frame design. And that wasn't released long ago.
No, that was released in like April time this year because that's got the new Bosch SX lightweight motor. So I just got to say, like, Cube's naming convention is very confusing. And we called it out like in the video that we did, in the podcast that we did, because they're like, I don't know, an alphabet's worth long of characters, maybe more. And each bike has like 12 different words in the name of it.
Easily. I mean, so the one you were referring to before, the lightweight one, so I've done my research now and I've actually spent time breaking down what all the different things mean. I don't know the definition of what AMS stands for, but AMS refers to their lightweight range in e-mountain bikes. Hybrid is obviously the e-bike thing. 144 or 177 is generally relating to the travel. So the 144 is 140 mil travel on the rear, and in the circumstance of not the AMS version, the normal one is 150 on the front. Then you've got the 177, which is longer travel, but then there's C68 HPC, which confused the living daylights out of me. HPC refers to high performance carbon. Will, I'm looking at you because you used to ride for them.
Well, you're a sponsored Cube rider.
I was back in the day, 2015. They've used these terms for years and years, to be fair. They've been using HPC, the C68, C62 for like over 10 years, I'm pretty sure.
So HPC refers to high performance carbon. And C68 is their top of the range, lighter weight,
I think the
higher modulus carbon.
X is the best one, isn't it? With the X at the end. I don't know what the X stands for.
I thought
extra good.
Extra good. I mean, I don't know if I'd put that down to Cube, but again, so I think that's the definition. And they've got like SLX, which will relate to the drive chain and things like that, I guess.
It is just super confusing because the SLX isn't like a Shimano SLX though. SLX is a Cube thing.
Okay, I was wrong.
Different to...
So, no, but then there's an SLX bike that has SLX on it.
Yeah, but I think
is that just a happy coincidence?
The names are, as we've established in a previous podcast, the names are thoroughly confusing, but the bikes are actually really decent. And these new bikes look really good. So the name is the same as the lightweight one that I can't quite understand. It's still called a 144, but I think that refers to the travel, as you've just mentioned. So it's like a full fat 140 travel on the rear and 150 on the front. But have you got a few more specs or key features of this bike?
Yeah, so I mean, the 144 is actually, where is it? Let's have a quick look. So it's decent setup. It's got a Bosch CX motor, so full powered performance line Bosch CX motor. It has the Bosch power tube, so the newer Bosch battery style, and they state that it's got a modular battery system. And from what I can understand is that you can put a different size battery in there because it doesn't state the definitive size of the battery it comes with. So I assume that means that you could fit, because what do the power tube come in currently?
This is really interesting, right? Because I think I think this bike here has stuff that is not yet released out on the market. Because I've just seen that they've got this like cut out on the top tube there.
Yeah, that doesn't look right, does it?
No, there's something not quite right there. And in the specs, they're just saying Bosch CX motor. They're not saying what generation it is.
That's a very good point.
And to your point, they've mentioned that there's different power tubes that will fit in the bike.
Yeah, so they said a modular battery system with different capacity batteries available. So you think modular, okay, maybe they're referring to range extender or something like that. But then it says, yeah, there you go. It says, what does it say there? In many ways, the battery is the heart of an e-bike. That's why our modular battery system we've made a setup that is easy to use. You can change the battery on or off the bike, and we've made room for high capacity batteries. You'll wonder how you ever managed without it. Well,
sorry, that's quite far away from you.
Yeah, and again, I'm reading it like I'm a 3-year-old.
Okay, so
it's not well written, and it's a bit of a cheesy sentence, so you could read into it a lot of different things, I think.
Yeah, I suspect, and I speculate because I do not know, and I do not have any information on this bike other than what's on the website. That this is a new Bosch Generation 5 motor in there. And I suspect also that there's new Bosch batteries coming out. And the reason I think that is because they don't actually say what the size or the watt-hour capacity of the batteries are in this bike.
Even if there was a choice, they would still normally state the choice if that was available. So what we say, so currently the Bosch power tube comes in a 400 watt hour.
Yes.
Is that it?
So that's the lighter weight, higher energy density one. The like old current generation
power pack is what they're called.
Okay, no, they're called Power Mores.
No, power tube is the sleeker
power
ones.
tube. Yeah,
power more is the range extender,
yes.
and the power pack is the old clip-on system with the handle battery.
Okay, yeah, my mistake. So the power tube battery is currently in the 400.
Yeah,
and then there's a 750 that's been out for ages.
Okay,
and a 625. And they're like really heavy for the energy. They're really old school cells in them now.
But that's not a power tube, is it?
It is called a power tube.
Oh, okay. So you can get a 625 and a 750 power tube. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think what they're going to do is hopefully match the energy density that are in the 400 power tube. So that 400 power tube only weighs 2 kilos, but the 750 power tube weighs like 4.5 kilos.
Because it hasn't got the right energy density cells.
Yes.
So it probably won't even be double. It probably won't be 4 kilos. It'll probably be less than that.
Hopefully.
Probably like 3.8 or something like that, because then there'll be like 200 grams for the little black boxy, like the gubbins. What's the word? Like a motherboard.
The BMS.
That's exactly. So all the connectivity and all the rest of it. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Have they given up the game? No, I don't think it's that obvious. But anyway, otherwise, the 144 HPC has the Bosch motor. It uses full 29 wheels, apart from the small size, which is 27 front and rear, which I think is really, really good idea. I think wheel size should relate to frame sizing as well. It uses the alloy back end C62 carbon front triangle, so it's the kind of less refined one on the HPC model. The numbers, Geo is a bit steep for modern Geo. 65 degree head angle isn't bad, but for a 140, 150 bike, so probably the trend is about 64.5, I would have said. Long chain stays, they state, which is 457, which isn't that long.
It's not that long.
But it's not. It's longer than the standard at the moment. I think the standard is trying to go short.
But they've actually called that out as a feature, long chain stays, or is that just what you added in?
No, that's what. Well, I'm reading another document that says long chain stays. Okay. And it says a range of 5 sizes with reach measurements from 425mm all the way up to 525 millimeters in 25mm increments. So they got a lot of range of sizes. And then
what bike are you looking at there, Rob?
That is the same one, isn't it?
That's the old one. That's the old one. Look how bad it looks compared to the new one.
Sorry.
It's got the same name.
No.
The name is the same, and it's on the same. It's on the article for these bikes, so it is confusing. So you can see how somebody in the industry can get confused and how a potential customer could get confused.
The one I was looking at is the 144 HPC, that one
So basically,
yeah.
the ones with this new kind of top tube like brace.
So the blue one up there with the factory suspension, I think, is the one I was referring to. HPC, with the white.
Oh, this is
white
the SLX.
Fox ones.
I find that brace very interesting because now even the 144, the bikes that they released last year, the 2024 ones, the 155, which was more travel than that 144, didn't have a brace there. And now the shorter travel bike has a brace. It's almost like, why would you buy that 155 unless it's in a crazy sale?
Yeah.
They've just killed the 155, right?
Yeah, it's a big overhaul, but I quite like the frame design in terms of those braces. When I'd ridden cubes in the past, the back end had felt a bit flexy on some models I'd found, and I wonder if there's a really short rocker link and that brace on the front, it all relates to the shock. And I know that straight shocks can sometimes flex and rotate in that position. So I wonder if they've really stiffened up the shock, and that's going to help the whole rigidity of the back end as well. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks beefy.
I made a video on my channel. My friend bought one of the old versions of this bike. I say old, last year's version, the 155, without the brace. And he said that it had quite a lot of flex in. And I also had someone comment on the video saying they had the same experience. So, and they said that when he contacted Cube about the warranty, he said they were aware of it. So I'm hoping this whole brace thing has fixed that issue that they had with the flexi rear.
They've got a bridge on the back there that should help with some of that stiffness. And it's an alloy rear end, right?
Yeah. Other than that, the bikes are really exciting, I think. Like they look, I think they look epic. I know it's subjective, but I don't know about you guys.
I think probably 5 years ago, I wasn't excited by Cube at all. And
I quite like the look of this.
I really like
retro about this.
Not even I just think that they've done a great job on it. Yeah, to pick it apart. The one thing I'm not massively keen on is where the head tube is. It feels like it's stretched out a little bit, like the down tube doesn't quite go as close. Yeah.
Depends on the size as well, because a lot of brands take pictures of the medium or the large. This could be an XL, probably not though. But I think to the point on the Flex, I did notice it on the 144 SL, we'll call it.
AMS.
Super light, we'll call it. I did notice the rear was a little bit flexy on that. I can't remember if it had that bridge that we just saw on this one on the seat stay.
Oh, so I went to look at it there, but it's not there anymore,
it's
is
not
it?
there. Yeah. But that's a banging looking bike. It looks really decent. I like the white colorway. They've gone bold on the look of it. It's not generic at all, is it? No. I think it looks pretty cool.
What's the price?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are the prices?
I have the prices here, found on the Electric Bike Shop.
Nice.
What do you want to hear? The cheapest one first?
Yeah. What are they from? What do they start from, and what do they max out at?
So the Stereo Hybrid 144 HPC SLX, which is the lowest spec bike, is £4,499 and €4,999.
It's not a bad price for what spec has it got on there?
It's quite reasonable. It has, components wise, it has a Fox 36 float rhythm.
Not bad.
Fork. It has a Fox float performance shock. It has brakes. Oh, Shimano XT brakes. This is actually quite a good spec.
4 pots as well.
Yeah. An Acid MTB Hybrid Pro crankset. I'm guessing that's
Cube's own brand. Yeah.
And then a Dior cassette. It looks like they've been quite clever with spec where they've used like the Dior cassette, for example. They've tried to save money on spec, so you get a better deal as the consumer, basically, which is quite cool.
Yeah, it's still a good looking bike. And again, this could be my 140. 130. I'd have to shorten the rear stroke, but this is it's a really good looking bike. I still think it could go with slightly slacker on the head angle, be an aggressive trail bike.
And the top end one, pricing?
Yeah.
Well, that's sweet. Wasn't that your job?
And the top end price. So the top end one, the SLT, is 7,499.
It's not much, in it?
Well, it's a lot of money, but I think value for money.
No, but from what you get spec wise, the difference.
Those EXT era cranks, I know they're about £400, right?
Well, it's got factory forks, factory shock.
Are those cranks the one we fitted to the Cheeb in the last video?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're full carbon cranks that are like lightweight and strong.
It's got carbon wheels.
Carbon wheels.
Exo drivetrain.
I think it might even be an XX. I think it's XX, man. So that is a decent spec, really decent spec. But maybe the one that we looked at before, this one here, the Action Team, is that I think is maybe the best bang for buck at 6499. With, we speculate, a new Bosch system, new batteries, and potentially lighter weight.
This is the question: is that price for the bigger battery in theory? Because if it's got a modular battery system,
which bigger battery?
Ooh, the potential bigger battery, if we're saying double the size, the 800 watt hour versus something else. I don't know. I'd be interested to see, because they probably don't state weights for anything, because it doesn't state the battery size.
What, for these bikes?
Yeah,
they do state weights on the Cube website. The cheapest one we saw was 24.4 kg.
Okay,
yeah,
which is quite good for the lowest spec.
Not bad.
No, it's not
and
terrible.
I wonder what the highest spec weight is, because generally the SLT, they just put super lightweight everything on it.
Let me see if I can find it. The highest spec 144 HPC.
Here we go.
I'm going to find it before you. 23 kg.
23
kg on the dot, yeah.
It's
not
pretty
bad.
good for a full power.
Yeah, it's
e-bike.
not bad at all.
And the next one that's interesting is the 177. Now, I think this is this a brand new category? Big travel? So what is it?
They didn't do a 177 last year. So I don't think they've done a long travel e-bike for a little while, actually.
It's definitely been a couple years.
Which is really exciting. I think it's what a lot of people were after. Like, we know a lot of your audience, Rob, love the long travel e-bikes. So I think hopefully that will appeal to a lot of people.
And so this has got, geometry-wise, is 64.3 degree head angle, was it?
I think it was 64.4, and then
it's got a flip chip.
63.8 you could go to.
That looks nice. I like that. So that's 170 front, 170 rear, mullet. It's got a Fox 38, Fox X2 shock on, Taki-chan, Magic Mary.
It looks a lot more appropriate.
That's really nice.
In terms of like the aesthetic on the frame with the geometry, it looks a lot more modern.
Yeah.
Than the 144. I don't know why. It's just slacker and it's a bit more stretched out, and the shock sits a little bit higher. To be honest, even there's another spec model with like a army green kind of color frame with the Performance Elite Factory the Performance Elite X2 and the 38s, and that looks amazing. Yeah, that
does look really good. Which that suspension is basically factory without the Kashima, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Performance Elite. That's still got SRAM's GX drivetrain on it. Taki-chan, Magic Mary. What's the price of that?
It looks like it's got Gustavs on there, the brakes as well.
That's 5499, available from January 2025.
24.3 kg.
And if that's got the new whatever's coming out from Bosch,
I think it's a 2,000 watt hour.
I like that. I think that's really good. Mullet, angle adjustments. It's got an angle adjust headset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can change by 0.6 degrees. Like, come on.
I mean,
Make it at least 1 degree.
You're going to love the chainstay length though.
What is it?
442.5.
Nah, it's too short.
Yeah, no, it's a mullet setup, isn't it? So it's a mixed wheel setup, 29 front, 27 rear. It looks burly. It looks. I mean, that little kind of on the side profile, on the aesthetic of it, that little brace for the top of the shock looks a bit like Mondraker-esque, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got that kind of vibe to it, hasn't it? I think theirs is a little bit more like smaller than that, but it doesn't offend me. I'd rather have that if it makes the bike a bit stiffer and there's less chance for it breaking or cracking or anything like that. Like, just build bikes burly. The Recharge podcast is sponsored by The Electric Bike Shop, the e-bike specialists. They've been selling e-bikes since 2017 from their first store in Bristol. And since then, they've rapidly grown from that single shop to now 10 stores across the UK, with more planned for 2024. The Electric Bike Shop supply a host of major e-bike brands, plus a ton of parts and accessories in stock. The Electric Bike Shop are highly reviewed by real customers, and they've achieved an excellent status on Trustpilot.com with hundreds of reviews. They offer free UK delivery, highly competitive pricing with price matching. They take part in the Cycle to Work scheme, and they carry literally thousands of e-bikes in stock for quick delivery. They also offer test rides where you can get hands-on with the bike so you can try different sizes. There's really nothing like getting on a bike and trying out the size for real to make sure you get the right bike size for you. So check them out at theelectricbikeshop.co.uk, where you can see the range, or you can even book a test ride direct from their website at one of their 10 nationwide stores. Thanks again to the Electric Bike Shop for sponsoring the Recharged podcast. Like the new Nicolai that I just received, bought, didn't just send it to me, I actually bought it. With the MGU, looks like a tank when it's constructed.
Beast, yeah.
We built it over the past couple of days, and everything about that bike looks beefy and burly. It weighs 25.5 kilos. That's with the 720 battery.
Is that large?
That's size large, but that's probably an XL in most bike companies because they are big bikes. But I just love the build. I'd rather take an extra 800 grams or maybe 1 kilo in burliness and build that you can get, that a bike's going to last, that's going to give the bike an extra year or two, or it's just not going to break.
I mean, the Nicolai you've got does seem like a bike for life. The spec on it and the thought behind a lot of Nicolais, I guess, is they're not there sitting there trying to release loads of new models year in, year out. But you've got the MGU, which is meant to last 10,000 kilometers before needing an oil change. I think that was what it was stated. It's meant to be super low maintenance. The frame, the geometry, everything looks super like up to date. So it's like you wouldn't need to change it. The whole frame looks so burly.
What I like about it is that you can, let me just grab a little prop over here. Because mine is raw alloy.
Yeah, they haven't done anything to it. They've literally just welded it up and then gone, there you go.
Literally. And the thing is, right, you get scratches and chips and stuff on bikes. They fall over, they rub against other bikes when you're shuttling with them or whatever. And it's annoying to get scratches. You have to put things like ride wrap or InvisiFrame if you want to protect it. But Nicolai send you a Brillo pad with the frame, and you literally rub down the frame and it takes out any imperfections, any marks, scratches. So
bike for life.
Bike for life. You Brillo pad it and you can make it look brand new. You can even polish them.
Wouldn't it be amazing if they like branded the Brillo pad with like ride wrap on there? They just
we
like
need
a ride
we need
wrap
a
logo.
PT's. We need a PT's.
PT's Brillo pad that'll be recycled material and stuff like that. It'd be really good. But it's so cool that you can have that. You know, I think that's something that really gets people's back up is like, you've got a new expensive bike. The last thing you want to do is chip it, and then you've got like touching up the frame never looks right. And you kind of want to just have a bike that you don't need to be too stressed about.
I think we put in a little disclaimer. Do not Brillo pad your painted Nicolais.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only the raw
this is
ones.
raw.
Unless you
would
want
not be
some like nice scratches on the side
Yes.
of it. But it did come with some imperfections on it, didn't it?
It
Will,
did.
you looked at it and you were like, there's some marks there and it's from weld, but it is literally
Look
ready
at
to be painted.
His forearms are locked from all that Brillo pad work.
I got dench from all that.
But you Brillo padded a bit of my bike away.
I did. So yeah, sorry about that.
That's all right. I appreciate
Weight
it.
saving. That's what I say.
Is how much Brillo pad can it take before there's no frame left?
But that Nicolai is like an absolute. It looks stunning. Sorry, I know we're going off topic now, but talking about bikes that may be a bit more heavy, and people might look at the weight and think, you know, it's too heavy, but I don't know. Hopefully, touch wood, that bike is built to last. British winter's coming up. I want to test it in the depths of the British winter, specifically the pinion MGU and the belt and all that stuff. Does it work in like mud? People have said if you ride it in mud, it will slip, or you can't ride it in clay type
Have they
of
said
environments.
that? People say that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
I met somebody the other day who said if you ride it in a specific area of the UK, they said it will probably slip. So challenge accepted. Let's see.
Specific area of the UK where they have a specific, it's like Utah with the desert where they've got, what's it called, slick rock, and it's like that super grippy dust.
This was like a clay area. I'm not going to reveal it because you're not supposed to ride in a lot of it, I believe. So,
Yeah, fair enough.
but yeah, that bike is a video will be out on that build really soon.
Yeah, I mean, the bike on an image doesn't do it justice. When you see it in the flesh, I was kind of took a step back and really took it in. It's a really beautifully finished frame. They've got all the little bits in there. Even the cable guides. The cable guides are just really well thought out. It doesn't matter if you're riding UK brakes, Euro brakes, whatever, which way, left hand, right hand. It all works inside, which is huge.
Well, you're a big fan of headset cable routing, as revealed in the most
I wouldn't say
recent...
big fan. Whoa. Disclaimer here. I'm on board with it because it is what's happening. Like these cubes all come with a cross headset with the cable routing. I think Cube were kind of one of the early adopters of having a headset routing on a mountain bike. Just get with the times. But it doesn't have it.
The Nicolai's like the opposite. Everything is easy to... I dismantled it completely for the build, and everything is easy. Like the cable routing on the chainstay runs along the top of the chainstay. You just use a cable tie, and then it goes like under the motor.
We're going full circle now. It's like when external cable routing suddenly changed to integrated, everyone's like, whoa, you can't see the cables. And now it's like full circle. Like, wow, you can bolt the cables on the outside of the frame. It's crazy. Like that's the new that's the new innovative thing, which is...
No, the new innovative thing is no cable routing. Like with some of the new bikes coming out, where they just don't put the internal routing at all, right?
New
The electric-
Specialized.
Yeah,
New
stump
Special-
jumper.
Stumpy had no cable route. You can't run a cable. You can obviously for brakes, but you can't run a wired,
Yeah.
a regular old school mech on it.
Which people weren't happy about, were they? So
No.
I think it's nice that Nicolai still offer. Well,
Why not have the option? Why not have the option?
Maybe there's some new stuff coming out from other bike brands, like drivetrain brands in the future. Maybe. All right, next up, we've got new wheels from Oquo. Specifically, they've got some new e-bike wheel sets that have come out as well. And I've been using these Oquo rims for like the past 6 to 8 months, I would say. And I've got their carbon ones and I've got their alloy ones. They use DT350 hubs. So if you want to change the ratchets in them, super easy. The hubs are renowned and reliable, and
You can pull them apart by hands. You don't need any tools to take the whole hub apart. It's such a cool feature, especially if you get the dork disc on the back of a new bike. You just pop the whole cassette off, take it off, push it back on. Genius.
nice. I didn't know that.
There you go.
Thanks.
Well, for future.
But they're easy to service as well. So you just get the special grease and you can service them. But they do front and rear specific wheels, which might seem obvious. All wheel sets are front and rear specific, but they have a different bead width on the rear. It's thicker. They've got different carbon profiles or alloy profiles for the actual rim as well.
is this just the new ones or the old ones did that as well?
The old ones did it, but the new ones they've changed the design slightly to make them, I guess, more burly. The e-bike ones use an e-bike DT hybrid hub, which is like it's using steel. I think it's using a steel free hub body.
They're using the specific hub type, so that it's using the ratchet system. It's a ratchet EXP, I believe, for the e-bike one. So it's got a burlier system. It's like what are they called? It's like the ratchet system where you've got two rings that have teeth on them, classically with DT Swiss, that roll past each other. The EXP is basically one side is fixed into the hub. So it's much stronger. It's a beefier build. The actual hub itself is bigger. It's like a beefier build on the hub shell. So it just means that you get a more consistent engagement, and it's not over time going to knock itself into different places and get play in there, and it's just makes sense really.
Yeah, to your point, Will, about then are they new? Yes, they say they've got 50% more resistance. Don't know what to, but
I think is that the alloy or the alloy and the carbon.
I think that's both of them.
Sweet.
Yeah, angled spoke holes made in the EU, which is pretty cool. The entire wheel.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah. So they've got 3 different mounting control wheels. The Limited, which is the carbon one. Team, which is the alloy. And then the Team Power, which is the e-bike one. And you can see the weights there. It's 1.9 for the carbon, 2.08 kilos, and then 2.2 kilos. So
that's for the set.
They're pretty heavy for the e-bike ones, but they're saying it's the same rim, but it's the e-bike specific hubs. So they're adding some weight to them. As I say, I've been using them, and I even had, by mistake, a horse tread on. You're laughing.
We put this in the lot.
Tested by top level enduro riders and horses.
But like, you know, we joked about that last time, but a horse stood on my rim and it just broke a spoke. So, you know, they can withstand whatever a horse weighs.
On a serious note, that's pretty impressive, the weight of a horse. It wasn't a little horse. It wasn't like it was a big old boy.
It was a big boy.
It was
Wasn't
a big boy. And it did, like the rim is almost untouched because I changed the spoke on it. And it was, really impressive how well it held up. I was even really impressed with when you look on the inside of the rim, how well it's laid up. Like the profiles of them just look really neat. They run a system which seems to be the running trend at the moment, which is like a slightly wider and more compliant front wheel for grip and control. So if you're loading it up, it's not going to be quite as stiff and pingy. And then a rear wheel that's much stiffer for that power transfer, and you get that much better kind of engagement. And going forwards, you just get a lot more power straight into the wheel itself. I mean, it makes loads of sense. And again, like
the front one is wider.
Yep.
Yes.
But what if I want more grip in the rear as well?
Huh?
Run a fatter tyre. So it's a 32 mil. Most rims are 30 mil front and rear.
Yeah.
This is a 30 in the rear and a 32 in the front.
Your little Specialized wouldn't take a bigger wheel on the back, would it?
No, I'm already rubbing off the paint on in the inner side of my chainstays. Yeah.
And what rims have you got on there?
They're Hunt Enduro wides, and they're
30 mil.
I think they're 30. Yeah, maybe they are 30. Yeah, on the dot actually.
So you'd be all right with a 30 mil.
That's
30 mil on the rear.
I just need to
32.
run road tyres, I think.
No, don't run the Pirellis because they only come in a 2.6. So that would definitely be rubbing a part of your frame away.
Destroying my frame.
The other thing is lifetime warranty on these, which is pretty cool.
Can we get an air horn for that?
I was going to do an applause.
Great. And it's like we're seeing with like MV and Crank Bros, where you break something on the trail and they'll sort it out, they'll repair it or replace it. So I think that's great.
I quite like those logos on the road. Are those the road wheels? No,
Yeah,
what wheels
no,
are
you
those?
can get them on both.
I quite like those.
But I think they're only for the team. Factory team and on all limit LTD wheels.
You should
road
get those,
wheels.
Rob. You should get some of them logos
I like
on your.
those. But you can personalize them, so you can put. Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
so you can,
sick! Can you choose? No, that's not. That's just a screenshot.
You can choose different colors, so you can choose like they have a little strip on them, so they kind of they you know the ones that the horse trod on had a purple purple strip on them. I want to add, just as full transparency, Oquo do support the channel. So, you know, I want to add that so people know, but I'm just being completely transparent, but I thought it was cool to showcase the new wheel sets from them as well. All right, next up, do you guys fancy roasting another bike?
Let's go, baby.
Because we roasted the McLaren e-bike, who also produced other e-bikes. The company is called N+, that produce, they seem to be partnering with motorsport brands. So this is the Ford Bronco e-bike. Wow. So what do you think of that, Will?
I think it looks interesting. It looks like a motorbike, doesn't it? With that seat.
Kind of, it's got like, I wonder if that seat flexes, like a flex stay, but a flex seat.
Flex seat.
No, it's stiff enough so you can have your mate sitting on the back.
So it's $4,500.
Great price.
Yeah, well, it's cheaper than the McLaren one, which was like 10,000 or something.
It was 11 and a bit with VAT.
So what did you find out about this bike, Adam?
Oh, what is there not to find out? So it's running 120 mil travel on the front.
It looks like it should be
It's got
way
a
more.
190 by 50 mil rear shock, so it doesn't stake travel. It's not mid-drive. It's rear hub driven. It runs full 27.
27 front and rear?
Yeah, I thought that was dead. You can get different colours, but it comes as standard with the Ford Bronco. What's their paint job called? It's the Ford...
Velocity Blue Metallic?
No, what's this?
Oh, Area 51.
Area 51 blue. But if you want to change the colour, it's only a light $390 and you'll be getting yourself a steal.
Hold on. What's the colour price of your Nicolai if you'd wanted to paint that?
I think it's about the same
Yeah,
price.
so I don't think that's that's on par with
Yeah.
We can't roast them for
It
that.
looks like something from Grand Theft Auto.
It
looks
does,
like the type of bike that you just nick from somebody. It does. That's obviously a render, isn't it? It's got the
brake
the
rotors are on the wrong way round, standard. But yeah, I think we're missing the big elephant in the room. It's got the integrated cockpit, which matches the color schemes of Ford's infotainment system that they get on their new cars with the central screen that goes on.
So they do all this matchy stuff, but I've noticed that the front brake is on the wrong way round, but the rear's on the right way round. So
yeah, and look at the gear range on that. Look at the wide range of gears on the back.
I can't see any.
Exactly. The
no
render
gears?
doesn't have it. No, it has the Shimano Q's 9-speed system on it. So it runs on like a Link Glide-esque drive chain, but 9-speed. The best thing about this, and I know I've said the best already, is they class it as the GOAT.
Right.
The GOAT of all.
What does that mean?
What is that defined as? Is the go? Does it go any type of terrain?
It goes over any type of terrain with 120 mil of travel.
120 mil travel. But yeah, I mean it says something about the motocross style saddle help riders confidently negotiate obstacles and land jumps. Now,
Land jumps.
Heavy duty dual suspension with motocross style rear linkage. That's the most basic rear linkage I've ever seen. It's just a
4-bar.
standard.
Lickle 4-bar. He's got
Is
it
it?
right there. It's
Might even
super
be single
tiny.
pivot.
And they've got plastic pedals on the image. No, there's a little linkage so if you look at the back on the image, it's got a little linkage.
Down here?
Yeah, just in front of the rear mech
Yeah,
there. That's it.
like a horse link.
Yeah, so it's a
Okay.
4-bar horse link essentially. But yeah, I mean, okay, let's not be too harsh here. I will be, but the moto style saddle, what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not 100% against it.
I'm not against it. I think
You're like bracing yourself for getting hell in the comments.
I quite like the idea of riding a motocross bike and being sat down around a rut and just around there. I'd love to try that on that bike. But I think you need more rear suspension for it to be comfortable.
Yeah.
If it's only 120, if it's 120 mil front, I'm guessing
And
the
120
rear is-
rear, isn't it?
Well,
No,
we
it doesn't
don't know,
state.
but-
It just says 190 by 50 mil shock.
Yeah, that's a small shock.
It's a very
50
small-
mil stroke is tiny.
Yeah, I don't even think it's 120 on the back.
Maybe it's 100 mil. It's like that amount of travel. That is
XC
not
bike.
going to be the goat of getting out of anything.
But
is
you can
it?
have a small shock with a big leverage curve, so you can get a longer.
That would be
travel.
horrible.
Oh,
The
yeah, massively.
kinematic on that will be horrible. If it's got loads of travel on a 50 mil stroke, the leverage ratio on that shock is really high. I think it looks. I mean, there's something about it. They will no doubt sell them. There'll be a lot of Bronco
Do you think?
fans. Yeah, I think they'll sell some of those at that price. It's not crazy 10, 11,000 pounds. So if you want to order one, how do you do it?
So here you go. This is their 5 bullet points to freedom. 2-year warranty. So I mean,
Nice,
there's
basic.
default manufacturer's warranty. Buy online or in person at participating Ford dealers.
Okay.
So again, they've managed to hook Ford there. Easy assembly and ready to ride. Complies with US e-bike laws, but it's made to order in how many days, guys?
10 days.
90 days. 3
3
months to order.
So
Same as the
you're-
McLaren.
So it's basically another McLaren e-bike, but just without the McLaren and not a mid-drive motor.
I mean, you can order a bike from a direct sales brand like Canyon or YT or Propane, and it's a week, 2 weeks, a month if they're pushed for stock.
Well, it's already produced. It sounds to me that these are almost like made to order. You put in you pay for it, and who needs 3 months to deliver a bike?
No, it does say made to order, but like, I mean, that also adds to the fact they've only got a render, which makes me don't think they might not even have a physical bike at the moment.
Yeah, you would have thought if they have at least one, they would be able to take pictures of it and put it on the website.
We don't have any spec.
We're not going
On
to get
there?
these, are we? Because we don't get. No. I'm sorry. I was being serious here. I'm not joking, guys. We don't get the Bronco in the UK, I
No.
don't think. So we probably won't be able to get this bike. If it's the Bronco bike.
And good luck traveling at 28 miles an hour for 60 miles on that.
It's got a 750 watt motor with, this is amazing. It's 4 modes: Eco, Normal, Sport. What's the last one?
turbo.
Baja.
Not Baja.
Like
Baja.
the Baja Blast, the Mountain Dew flavor, BAJA. out, and that states it as all out performance. So it's got class 2, which is 20 mile per hour with a throttle.
Okay.
And then a class 3, which is 28 miles per hour without a throttle. 48 volt charging, which is quite good. Oh, weight. 67.75 pounds.
67.75 pounds.
That is
That's
chunky.
over 30 kilos.
It's got to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Go on.
Would you say 67.75?
Yeah.
30.73 kilos.
Oh, wow.
In small, that'll be as well.
Quite heavy.
Yeah, they'd always state the small weight, won't they?
It's a chonky boy.
But okay, so here you go. What forks does it have on it?
120 mil travel. That looks like a RockShox Zeb Crown.
It does, but I don't think they do a 120 RockShox Zeb.
They don't, do they?
So here you go. The suspension it states that they have on their spec, which makes me add to the belief that they don't actually have a physical model yet, is high performance air sprung front suspension with 120 mil travel and 190 by 50 mil rear shock.
It's like an XC stuff is 120 mil now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So-
On a 30 kilo bike.
Yeah.
If you pull the front brake and that's a 32 mil stanchion, you're going to fold the front end. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I've got to be careful here, but I don't know if I trust a 30 kilo bike with a very, very lightweight looking fork.
I mean, we haven't tested it, so it could be well built, but we don't know. But
They
do
managed to
say it's
reduce the
goat.
travel of a Zeb to a 120.
If they'd have made that with 200 mil travel or 180, because you can get a 180 fork, you get a 180 coil in that, maybe, but saying that it's the goat and it will get you out of any terrain like a Bronco might, but giving it 120 mil travel, are they just like opening themselves up to be roasted on every bike that N Plus bikes release? Because they're all ridiculous in some way, aren't they?
So you know what this kind of reminds me if they did it right? Have you seen the LMX bikes?
Yeah.
Chuck on the LMX bikes on there, because that's like moto-esque, big travel, burly, bore. But again, you couldn't ride on the roads legally. It's more like a motorbike than it is a mountain bike, I'd say. Doesn't necessarily look the same, but it's that same kind of big, burly, travel, bore, powerful thing, which you would have thought that kind of a bike that looked like a motocross.
So much better. Like so much more burly, beefy. Look at that rear linkage, man.
I think it looks cool.
I think I'd rather ride the Ford Bronco.
Would you?
I think so.
What?
Really?
Do you like the look of that much? To
No, I think that looks great.
Oh, God,
It looks
stop
like
with the
the linkage looks a bit like a weird version of the old Scott Voltage, the previous Scott Voltage linkage design. I really like the look of those. If they made them like normal mountain bike speed and all the rest of it, then I'd be well up for trying
Where's
one.
this brand from?
France.
Is it? I thought it said America.
No, French brand.
Oh, yeah.
They are from Yonage.
I just saw that launched in North America. That's what made me think it's American. But
But I mean, I think they look great.
yeah,
So again, it's like if you think a Bronco, big burly off-road bike, you'd have something like that. But let's not just stop at the Bronco.
what?
N Plus bikes have really knocked this one out of the park.
Is there
They've
more?
also released a Mustang,
Okay.
a Mustang
Ford.
e-bike.
Yeehaw!
Okay, let's check out this one then. Mustang.
Oh God, I'll let you guys soak up the image and the look and the thoughts on this one.
So £139 per month. I'm sure you can actually get a car for that, can't you?
Oh, easily.
Dollars per month.
Dollars.
So less.
Yeah.
Why is my internet going so... Will, what have you done to the internet?
I've
There
done
you go.
nothing.
Oh, dearie me. Oh, no.
It's got a 2,000 lumen light though, guys. Don't
Oh.
worry.
2,000 lumen.
2,000 lumen.
That's actually not bad.
No, it's not bad.
So we've just gone from GTA to
This is Lego.
Minecraft. This is Minecraft.
Yeah, that's a great example. That's a great example. It's Minecraft. What is the rear rear light box thing sticking out the seat post?
That is, yeah, something else. Isn't
Big old
it?
smooth tires.
There you go.
Don't worry, it's got the Ford. Wait, go back one image. World's smallest Ford logo on the front.
Yeah.
Has this got the start button like the like supercar-esque start button?
Oh
on the-
baby, yeah, it does. This is for all those Mustang
top tube.
and this is for those Mustang fans.
Oh look, there it is, the red one. That's
Is
why
that-
I'd buy it.
Is that the
Yeah,
start
yeah,
button
yeah.
there? And stop.
That's
And
the
again,
reason
so
I'd
like the
spend
McLaren bike,
£4.
we have no geo numbers.
Okay.
We have very little in terms of spec. We get there's Tektro 4-piston caliper brakes. It's very limited in terms of what you get. So for anyone who's willing to spend $4,500 and just give this a go, you'd expect a bit more information.
Made to order in 90 days again. Oh, there you go. They got so yeah. I mean, interesting bikes. Obviously, they're just obviously they're just partnering up with every car brand they can and like spamming really shit looking bikes and hoping people will buy them.
Oh, here's a good. Sorry, can I just read the initial statement? So, there's no mistaking the lineage of this bold, chiseled electrical bike. And chisel is right. Every line, curve, and angle has been inspired to evoke the 60 years of power and performance excellence you've come to expect from a Ford Mustang.
No, it's not. Look at the car compared to the bike.
There's no curve on the frame. There's no. They've said every line, curve, and angle. There's no curves on the frame. It's all straight lines.
It's got that top tube curve though.
That's not a curve. That's a kink.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks N Plus Bikes for sending us more bikes to roast, because we do have a laugh at your expense, and maybe they're good to ride, but they're also good to roast. So thanks for that. All right, next up, Bosch have been involved in an antitrust case in Italy. So there's a company, I'm going to get my notes for this because there's quite a few pieces of information, but there's a company called Blue Brake who made or make ABS systems. And last year, concerns were raised when ABS manufacturer Blue Brake claimed that Bosch was limiting competition by making their e-bike kits incompatible with other e-bike ABS systems, specifically Blue Brakes. This led to an investigation by the Italian Antitrust Authority, known as the AGCM. Now, as of August 2024, the AGCM has ruled that Bosch must make its e-bike kits compatible with Blue Brake's ABS technology. Bosch didn't admit to any wrongdoing, but has agreed to provide the necessary tools and connections like a new Y cable and software updates to make these systems work together. Bosch stated that they do believe in open competition based on quality and performance and see this as a contribution to the e-bike market.
They didn't before this.
Well, so what does this mean for manufacturers? Starting in October 2024, they'll be able to test the integration, and by October 2025, the final versions will be ready for mass production. This decision is being held as a big win for e-bike manufacturers, with Blue Brake's CEO Fabio Todeschini emphasising that the move promotes freedom of choice in the components market. But the key takeaway for us is, with this change, hopefully we'll be able to see more innovation and more people being able to operate within other people's ecosystems. So I don't know the full legal ins and outs of this, but from the outside, what it looks like is that Bosch's ABS system was kind of locked down to an extent, and this Blue Brake ABS company were asking for specific cables or interfaces to allow them to use their ABS system on Bosch's ABS system bikes, but weren't given access to it. So the antitrust ruling has basically said that it should be a bit more open and other manufacturers can use it. Now, interestingly, Bosch partnered with Magura for their ABS systems, but Magura is actually part of Bosch Group, isn't it? It's called the Bosch Magura Group, or I can't remember the actual name for it, but they're one and the same in terms of companies.
TRP sit within that as well? Because I know that the TRP have just released their Easy system. I don't think they're part of the Bosch group, the Bosch Magura group, but you're right, that integrates with Bosch's system. So maybe, I don't know, I think the end result here is good for consumers. Now, I did a video last year and I kind of showcased the problem that we have with e-bikes. And that is, we've got all these different systems, all these different batteries, all these different chargers, and nothing works together. Even a range extender, you can't use one from, even if it's a 36 volt range extender on another system, it's all locked down and it's really frustrating. So I think that this is good. I think that Bosch say that they're open to other people innovating and allowing connections from other companies. They are when they're walking out of court.
But I don't know. What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's great, but I'm going to fight Bosch's corner here, because I think like you could open the floodgates for this. Like, oh yeah, here you go, it's open source, everyone can make what they want, and then you're kind of opening the doors for not necessarily the quality that they want to
That is a good point.
put out there. And I think using the TRP thing as the example, it's obviously a relationship, and they built the product with Bosch, which
So
is
the
a really
TRP is like the auto shift.
yeah. So it's their drive chain. It's the auto shift. They call it Easy System, which is electronic shifting, automatic integration or something like that. I can't remember exactly the terminology, but it's EASI. Essentially, their system and how it works was built with Bosch. So I suspect that it's a bit of a gatekeepy thing in terms of Bosch going, you can partner with us and build this technology. But what I think they're saying in this circumstance is now they've got an ABS with one brand, they're going, that's done. We don't need to make any others. We can't have any compatibility with any others. So unless you're a partner, then you can't have access to the Bosch family of parts and components. So again, it's like, if you partner with them, it's great. If not, then you're screwed. I think there's a level of like they want to ensure the quality, but then there has to be more openness. So I think
ways around ensuring the quality, though, right? They could just invite the brands. They could collaborate with them.
Yeah, essentially, they just should be more open to doing more collaboration. So rather than it just being just TRP in this example, they should go, oh, okay, well, let's do it with TRP. And if anyone else comes to the table with something that's worthwhile, well, then we can build it up. But again, limited resources. How much time do they have to do all this stuff?
Well, Bosch are pretty big. And I think in terms of innovation and allowing extra people to collaborate and add on to that system, I think it is fair. I think the ruling is fair. I also think you have a really good point. Like Bosch perhaps should be the ones that sign it off for compatibility, maybe, because you don't want an ABS system from I don't know, an unrecognized brand or unproven brand to just, as a consumer, you're kind of getting it and plugging it in and it doesn't work properly.
Well, it could be really bad with a brake, couldn't it? You pull the brake and it decides not to brake.
Yeah.
Like, you think the default would be it would just brake and it wouldn't kind of feather it and do what the ABS system needs to do. But there is a chance that someone pulls a brake and the brake doesn't decide to work and something happens.
I think it's always got like an override. I think with ABS, my understanding of using the Bosch system was if for example, something failed, you've always got that manual override. So it's still hydraulic pressure that you're applying.
Yeah.
It's just not releasing the pressure from the brake electronically. So I don't think it would, let's say that all the battery power supply run out, it will still override to a manual system.
Yeah.
But I think this is interesting because I think over the next 5-10 years with e-bike technology increasing, like we're getting so many different electronic systems that I think the consumer wins in cases like this because there's just more choice, more innovation, more competition. And if there's some kind of gatekeeper making sure that the safety is all those boxes are checked, like it is fit for purpose, then I think at the end of the day, the consumer wins. So
if anyone's going to do it, it's the EU. It's the EU legislation. We saw it with Apple, the USB-C, right? They were like,
and how much nicer is that this charges, the same thing charges my laptop, my cameras, the GoPro, the DJIs.
You got it as
the
well?
phone.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. Only iPhone 13.
But it's benefited you for your future phones.
When I afford a new phone, then yes.
Please, can the EU make e-bike manufacturers all use the same charger?
Well, I think so. Also, to mention on this point with the EU, like there is that I'm being joking and villainizing them, going, they're making everyone do different things, but there is still the Right to Repair Act that's coming in or has come in, and there still needs to be, not necessarily compatibility, but means of repairing and replacing and repairing things. So I'd recently seen something about like aftermarket batteries, and I was like, okay, but there's like a company called Gouch or GOUACH, something like that, and they're making aftermarket batteries with modular cells and things like that, which I don't know if it's there yet. I don't know too much about it, but there has to be a means for other brands to come in. There has to be some means of changing things, updating things, adapting things. You don't buy a bike and when the drive chain gets wrecked, go, I can only buy this brand or this. You can upgrade it, you can change it. It's compatible with different free hub systems and whatnot. You can't do that with motors or batteries or chargers or anything like that, but surely that is coming. Surely there's going to be,
so.
Batteries will only have a certain lifespan. And after that lifespan, I don't think it's fair that a brand could charge in theory whatever they wanted, knowing that your bike becomes obsolete
Yeah.
once that battery is gone. And it's like, we know that this technology isn't going to last forever as an individual unit. You know, the big fear that people have is my warranty runs out. What can I do? What do I do? You know,
Buy another bike, bro.
I do agree. There definitely should be, like, the right to repair is a real key thing. I think having interchangeable components and choice to be able to replace, like, let's say your Nicolai pinion bike goes wrong and I want to replace it and I'm only restricted to one specific battery. Wouldn't it be great if I could buy a third party one that was regulated, safe,
Yeah.
Off
and would
Amazon.
fit?
Amazon
I
battery.
don't mind
Next
if
if
day
it's
delivery.
regulated and safe,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah. All right. Well, loads of interesting topics. Thanks for joining. And we got some really cool stuff coming up over the next month. It's massive for e-bikes over the next month. Stay
Horn,
tuned,
please.
subscribe, and we'll catch you soon.
See you.
Bye. Bye.